planning a Disney trip and don't know these tips, you're probably going to waste time and money.
Hi, I'm Jordan. This is my wife, Kelsey. She's a travel agent. She wants to share her top 5 Disney tips. So you can start off with tip number 1.
So my first tip is to book early. Disney especially though, it is extremely important to make sure that you are knowing about when dates are going to come out and making sure that you are booking your resort early and getting your tickets, and whether that be separately or as a package. And then that kind of trickles into some of the other things too, like dining reservations and things like that. So booking early is a huge deal when you're going to any Disney park, of course. Are highly sought after, are always very busy for the most part. There are some low times, but it's a place that you go to with a plan. And we'll talk about that a little bit later, but planning beforehand can make the biggest difference in your trip. And probably one of the biggest things is making sure that you lock in your dates, your resort, and all of those things pretty early on.
So what if you book early and a new deal comes out? Is that going to affect it? Are you going to go use that deal? Or
So the beautiful thing about Disney World and Disneyland, any Disney property, even cruise line, when they drop promotions, if you've already been booked, as long as you haven't paid in full, you can still apply that promotion and take advantage of the savings, which is amazing.
whenever we've done last minute trips in the past, we've talked about, well, maybe we should try to go eat at this place or something. Half the time you can't get in there because
availability is very slim. We were the king and queen of last minute trips. I mean, for a long time, we would our lives were busy. So we were like, oh, we have this weekend. Maybe we can drive down for the weekend and spend a couple of days at the park and come back. And if we wanted to do any dining reservations or book, well, there are lightning lanes now, there was none available because we waited till the last minute. So we got smart finally and started booking our trips earlier, and we were able to take advantage of when you book earlier, you can plan out and get those sought after dining reservations, like if you wanted Cinderella's Royal Table or, the really nice character dining, things like that people love to go to that book up and you can't get into.
it is much better when you actually get it ahead instead of waiting until the last minute.
Yeah,
you can do some of those things you've always wanted to do, or you hear about people's top places to eat or things like that.
So when that 60 days opens up, you get to see everything that's available during the time frame that you're there, which is a huge benefit because then you can pick and choose where you want to go. And I'll touch on a little bit about the resort because I know for a lot of people resort matters. I know some people are like, oh, it's just where I sleep. I totally understand that. We were rope droppers and park closers when we were traveling back and forth, so we wanted to soak up every moment in the park. But as we've come more often, I know for me, resort matters because we normally did a rest day and we're able to enjoy the resort amenities. So when you only have certain holidays off and things like that with kids in school and stuff, picking some of those peak times that you're going to come down, there's not as much available in the resorts. So when you know there's somewhere that you specifically want to stay or there's a certain type of room that you want, say you want to be by the pool, making sure that you're booking early is really important.
All right, now what would tip number 2 be for you?
So this one kind of sounds crazy when you're talking about a Disney park, but don't try to do everything. It is physically impossible to be able to do everything. I'll speak for Disney World just because that's where we go the most. We have been so many times at this point. I mean, we live here now, and we still have not done everything. You will kill yourself trying to do this and do that and mark everything off the list.
A lot of people will say Animal Kingdom's a half-day park.
And we were like that, we'll be honest.
And it was if you're just going to ride the top thrill rides in that park because there's only a couple in there.
Yeah.
But when you start doing every little thing that they have in there, you really can spend your full day there.
Yeah. One thing that I always tell any of my families or clients that are going is that, one, obviously you want to do everything. You want this trip to be the best trip that you've ever had and I know you want to use your money well, and I completely understand that. But what I tell them is that sometimes when you are too planned and want to conquer everything, you miss out on the most magical moments with your family. I say have a plan, but be flexible.
2 down, 3 more to go. So what would your number 3 be?
So I know I just talked about having a plan and things like that. And so my next tip is going to be plan your park days, but I say that loosely. I mean, know where you want to go each day. That means like picking your parks depending on what the crowds are. I know for me, a lot of the clients that I work with and families that I work with, I normally suggest not going to Magic Kingdom on Mondays. And that's probably me giving a huge tip away. Monday is normally crazy all the time, year round at Magic Kingdom, because the majority of people love to start their vacation at Magic Kingdom. They want to see the castle first. And while that is very magical to start your trip off with, it's not as magical when you're standing right next to each other in the parks the whole day. It's not fun. I say have a plan, and I mean that with, obviously you're going to be using lightning lanes possibly, so that's kind of going to guide your day too with time frames and things like that. But I say it loosely because like what I was saying before, is you don't want to miss out on those moments that your kid sees a character or something and you're like ripping them away from that because you got to make it to a lightning lane. Have a plan, but be flexible. You have a focus on what's important to your family. So that may be rides, or that may be meeting characters, or eating.
There's a lot of unknowns when you go on a trip to Disney. You really don't know what could come up in a sense. All right, so what would tip number 4 be?
So I know a lot of people, and probably a lot of agents, have all these outrageous tips. But one of the things that I have found that is super important and has been super helpful with our family is using the mobile ordering in the app. A lot of people do not love the My Disney Experience app, and I will lie, I sometimes have a rage moment with it when it doesn't work properly. So they have a thing on there called mobile ordering. So if you don't have a dining reservation or something like that, you are able to use the app. The beautiful thing about mobile ordering, though, it is, one, helpful in time saving. We could be getting off of a ride and walking towards another land in Disney World, and we're all hungry, we're ready to eat, and the last thing you want to do is stand in a line with your 3 kids. Is we pop onto the app, everybody tells me what they want, and then we just order it on there. We went ahead and placed our order, and then once we get close enough or inside of the restaurant, we just tap I'm here. We go find a seat, and then it tells us when it's ready, and we go pick up our food.
All right, so tip number 5. I know Kelsey said she was going to say all the tips, but I told her I'd steal tip number 5. Use a travel agent, and I'm going to be devil's advocate here and say, well, why in the world do I need to use a travel agent? They're just going to cost me more money, things like that. But really, is that the truth?
No, it's not the truth. I think there's a huge misconception about using a travel agent. First thing I'm going to say is you don't pay me anything extra to use me. And that's the beautiful thing about an agent. People think that they have to pay me extra on top of their trip to use my services, which is not true. You are already paying for me in your Disney package or any other kind of travel package that you're using without getting the benefit of help. When it comes to Disney vacations, though, a lot of planning is involved. And I think a lot of people don't realize that until they get into the thick of it, and then they are stressed out. And having the benefit of a agent who does specialize in, Disney vacations like that knows all of these things and can take care of them for you, is a huge benefit to you and at no extra cost.
I know a lot of people out there know what they want to do when they go to Disney. Maybe something happens when you're on a trip and you need help, but you still want to enjoy the park.
I can do as much or as little as anybody wants. And I will do this one thing, and I'm not one that throws shade at people, but the one thing I always get is, well, I can get it cheaper with Costco. I know that they can get it cheaper, but here's the thing. What they can't get you is, one, if something happens with your trip or you can't go for some reason, they can't help you. And you most of the time don't get your money back all the way.
Well, there's your top 5 tips from a travel agent. Not that they're in any particular order.
If you're planning a Disney trip, I really hope that this helped you out. And if you enjoyed this, I hope you guys will subscribe and like and follow along for more. We'll see you guys next time.